Hello, thanks for putting your hand up for my post, which was the 12-point checklist on how to know if a man is trustworthy. Now, when I wrote this post, a few men actually also put their hands up. So this is useful for you too, if you are a man, because though the language is based on women looking for a man and knowing whether a man is trustworthy, it is heteronormative, and it is also, if you think of it as interchangeable language, because men also have these challenges too, I think it will be really useful for you. Right? So what this also means is you can use this 12-point checklist as a guideline on how you can become more trustworthy too. And that's just a win-win situation for everyone involved. Okay, so excuse me. Why am I recording this? Well, some people have had their heart broken and they've had their trust broken. And in the past, what they mean is that can also affect how much they trust themselves. If they've been gaslighted or cheated on or some other kind of emotional manipulation, they may think, well, how is it that I missed this? And they really want to meet someone. They really do feel lonely, or they really want to meet someone and have a satisfying relationship, but they just no longer trust that they're going to pick the right kind of person. So to trust someone in a relationship context, it means to actually rely on another person because you feel safe with them and you have confidence that they will not hurt you or violate you, okay? Trust is the foundation of relationships. Well, because it allows you to be vulnerable, right, and open up to the right kind of person without having to, defensively protect yourself, okay? So how do we do this? The first thing that I'll say to you as I go through the 12 points is if you feel good around a person, right, that is the main indicator. And if your gut is telling you something's off, you must trust it, okay? A lot of people ignore their gut instincts, and that's super dangerous. All right. Now, some people are worried that they're going to attract the wrong person, or if they continue to attract the wrong person, and I'll cover this at the end. But the main thing to focus on is, am I feeling good? All right. Now, the first thing is the right guy will welcome questions. There's no need to be shady. He's relaxed. He shares parts of his life that are extremely private normally, but it might take him time to open up. Now, if you're an oversharer and you think that by sharing your stuff that someone has to now share theirs, please be aware some people might not feel comfortable to do so. And this is actually a manipulation and control technique that many women use, and they're not even aware that they're doing it, okay? So you can't demand somebody is going to share parts of their life just because you did, okay? It just doesn't work like that. The second thing is that he will embrace his friends and family, and he will introduce you to people in his life, okay? He doesn't keep you a secret. Just bear in mind that some men are very social. They love being around people. They thrive meeting new people. They feel really comfortable in a new crowd and interacting with people. And some men just really don't. They find it super draining and they don't enjoy it and they don't like being in groups. So regardless, if someone says that they don't want to meet your friends or family, but you've been seeing them, say, 6 months or a year, there's a little something in there that you may be dating someone who wants to actually hide something from you. And maybe he feels he can just fool you, but if he's in a crowd with all these other people, he may not be able to fool you any longer, okay? And so that's why he might be avoiding integrating into your life. And keep you out of his. That's another thing, right? He might be keeping you out of his life. He may use excuses like, well, I keep my work and my personal life separate, or I've never introduced anyone to my friends and family. I'm very private. There's all kinds of little clues that will be there. But so trust your gut. But a trustworthy guy will make the effort to sometimes come to events for you even if he doesn't want to, right? But please respect his boundaries, because he may not want to go to every event with you or hang out with your friends every single weekend, right? The third thing to pay attention to is that he doesn't default to defensive and deflective behavior. Okay, now some people automatically jump to the defensive and defective, and this usually happens if you bring up something that they're uncomfortable with, like an issue or a behavior that might have upset you, because they may interpret this as a criticism or an attack, but it could also just be a deflection mechanism, right? Somebody who doesn't want to take ownership and responsibility and just turn around and blame you. So if you're withdrawing from bringing things up because you don't want to make a big fight out of every situation, that's a clue that you're not actually feeling safe and you're not with the right type of trustworthy guy. Unfortunately, with my ladies who don't speak up about little things, okay, this is a really, really common thing, because they don't want to make a big deal of it, or they don't want to have a guy say, why are you like overreacting or making a mountain out of a molehill, right? What they'll do is they'll let things go until a seemingly small thing, straw that broke the camel's back, that's an expression, will just set them off and they'll explode, okay? And this is when the guy might say, look, she's acting crazy. She's a psycho. And this is a really common language, but it's a much more complex topic to explore. But however, it comes down to, if you're not feeling safe enough to bring things up that are bothering you with the person that you're dating, and you're not feeling heard or understood, this level of communication breakdown will always end in the relationship not working out. However, some people still choose to stay together despite not being able to communicate really well, and that's when marriages become miserable, okay? The right guy will hear your concerns and take time to consider what you're saying. But even though he owns his part of it, and even though, you know, he understands, he still may not choose to change his behavior because you want him to. Like, he just may not want to, okay? So people have their own will and volition. Acknowledge it's upsetting you and explain what it is you want. If he still doesn't want to do it and he says, look, I still want to spend every Thursday evening with my boys, or something like that, then you just have to decide if that's something you can live with or not, okay? All right. The fourth thing is that he shares his feelings. Now, as you probably know, most guys aren't really forthright about talking about feelings and sharing their feelings. However, if he does share how he's feeling with you, it's a safe bet that what he says is what he means, okay? Now, if a guy shares how he feels completely unprompted, it's usually a sign that he is an honest and trustworthy person. Now, if it doesn't feel genuine, or if it seems too early, like on a first or second date, and some of the things may just seem like, why are you saying this? For instance, you know, I want to have kids and get married, and it's just the first half an hour of your first date. You're like, well, why is he oversharing his emotions? Maybe that's a red flag, and it could be also a way for him to use manipulation and control to get you to share things that you may not be ready to share, okay? Look, many women have been told a line just so that a guy can get into bed with them, okay? Because a guy thinks that's what she really wants to hear. The woman will then surrender, and then they may become intimate, and the man will start distancing himself and then disappears. But actually, look, all it is he tried a line, you fell for it, and he realized maybe it was too easy with you, or it's not really what he wants. So you need to also just be discerning when it comes to, is somebody sharing too much too early? So here are some like warning signs. If a guy says, like I said, you know, I want to have kids and marriage really, really, really early, or I love you, or, you know, over love bombing you, which is giving you lots of compliments, presents and gifts and that sort of thing, there might be a clue in there. But, you know, not a lot of men, even though marriage and kids might be one of their goals, it's not usually a conversation that most men will bring up on their first or second date. So just pay attention to this, okay? All right. The fifth thing. This is another thing you need to be aware of. how does he speak about his exes? Now, most women quickly learn that if they hang out with the gossipy crowd in school, or, the girls that bitch and judge each other, and they're going to do that to their friends behind their back. Like, that's something that we learn quite young. However, I don't know why. Women think it's okay for a man to bash his ex, call her a nutcase, and all kinds of other words, and think that they're not going to do the same with them. Look, I think most healthy women don't want to hear too much about their partner's exes, apart from, establishing if he might have some unresolved feelings for her, or some kind of financial commitments towards his ex, or, for his kids, or that type of thing. But I do know that there's something off about a guy who tries to convince you that all of the women in his past are crazy, or, some other blame game, okay? And when you're his ex, he's just going to bundle you with all the other crazies. Now, if a guy is trustworthy, he'll answer any questions you do have about his past relationships, but he'll also do so without being mean, right? There's no need for him to share how incredibly hot and sexy his ex was and show you photos of her or her Instagram account. That's a sign of immaturity. Now, if he also insists that he did nothing wrong in his past relationships, look, he's probably dishonest and not someone that you want to actually trust and put your trust into. All right, quick water break. Number 6, a trustworthy guy doesn't hide his phone. Now, don't look through his phone. That doesn't mean you get to look through his phone. No. Okay, people deserve privacy when it comes to their phones. But there is a fine line between having privacy and like shady behavior, such as messaging lots of people, giggling and laughing, and then hiding the phone under a cushion, right? You'll feel it anyway when something's off. Needless to say, that's the behavior of someone you can't trust. Now, if you're a woman who's been hurt before, then you can actually talk to him, tell him, look, my ex used to keep things from me, and he was chatting to several people, and, one of the stories I heard was several women were sending naked photos to this woman's boyfriend. It was really upsetting for her to find this out, because he wasn't telling them that he's in a relationship now and to stop. So, look, if you really have a need to look at his phone, or you need him to reassure you in that way, maybe you need to do some work on trust yourself even before getting into another relationship. If he gets defensive, then he might be hiding something, okay? Now, number 7, your relationship is public knowledge. What this means is a little bit different. It's more about, can you really trust a guy who won't even acknowledge that you're in a relationship? So, somebody like, I don't believe in labels, or, what does it mean anyway? Yeah. So if he won't refer to you as his girlfriend, partner, even months or a year down the line, you've got to ask yourself, like, can you actually trust him? Like, what else is he up to? Now, if you ask him when he last had a girlfriend, and he says something like, oh, I've never really had a girlfriend, I've just met people, but nothing really worked out, that's a warning sign. Or, I've never really been in love. Like, some men like this will, deflect the conversation and say, well, what's a label anyway? I don't know. I don't believe in labels. Or if you're out, he might actually ignore you and say, well, I wanted to talk to others. I can talk to you anytime. So these are the kind of things that not only are incredibly hurtful, to say the least, but if you don't feel good around the person, do you remember the original thing of feeling good? Okay, they may also be untrustworthy. All right, number 8, he respects your boundaries. Okay, what this means is good partners will support and encourage others, sure, but they won't force others to do things out of their comfort zone, right? What this means is a guy that you can trust won't force you to do something you're not comfortable doing, right? Whether it be in your life, your career, in the bedroom, okay? But a trustworthy guy will always respect boundaries you set and discuss it without manipulating. They might have some kind of negotiation tactics, but they will also respect where it's a hard no, okay? Now, ladies, is what we tend to do to our men. We actually are better manipulators than men. This is something that is really hard for some women to hear, but when women understand what they're doing and they just click and they get it, they realize, oh, okay, let me get some more awareness here, because I'm actually I'm creating some suffering for myself. All he wants to do is just be himself and not be like you. That's all. That's another video altogether. Now, if a guy tries to guilt you into doing things and you don't feel ready to, such as meet your kids or spend nights in your house when you have your kids there, then he's probably not trustworthy, okay? So be careful, because it can sound like he really wants to be in your life, and he can twist it like, look, you can trust me. I want to know everything about you. Look, I want to be in your life. I want to be in your home. I want to spend every night with you. But there's a little red flag there. And if you're not feeling ready, look, trust yourself. If you're not ready, you're not ready. That's all. Number 9, he'll share secrets with you. Now, his secrets in his life are shared with people that he can trust, okay? And when he trusts you, it usually means you can trust him. But if a guy is actually trusting you enough to be vulnerable, to confide in his secrets in you, you should be comfortable reciprocating if you feel it's at an appropriate time. And just, if it's too early, again, it could be a manipulation. So these kinds of shares will come out organically, okay, and usually unprompted. Now, if you badger him to open up and tell you secrets, it might just make you make it up. And plus, it's not nice. Don't do that, okay? So you can't force emotional intimacy with a healthy man before he's ready. He's more likely to just walk away from you, okay? So number 10 is he will keep his friends and family close. Most guys that are truly trustworthy have developed that over years, over their lifetime, and they tend to hang out with a small group of friends that they've had for years. And they got that way because deep down they've been through stuff that they've had to trust each other, and they've had challenges along the way. So if his close friends seem to trust him, you can probably let your guard down and start trusting him as well. And if his friends are saying things to you like, he's not to be trusted, you should run away, like maybe there's things that you need to listen to. I know that guys do joke as well, but sometimes there's some truth into it, okay? So just pay attention. His relationship with his mum and close family will also be clue. So if you look at his character and how he shows up for them, does he, is he consistent? Does he have integrity? Does he keep his promises to them? Does he turn up or call them when he says he's going to? Is he consistent to them? That will also usually indicate that he's trustworthy. Okay. Number 11 is a trustworthy guy isn't jealous or controlling. Please hear me again. A trustworthy guy isn't jealous or controlling. I've heard this language so many times. Yeah, he's jealous, he's controlling, but at least I can trust him. No. Okay? That kind of behavior is from someone who's deeply insecure, and they're most likely lying or cheating behind your back, and you just haven't caught them yet, because the line they're feeding you is, I'm so trustworthy, I'm so trustworthy. Trust is a two-way street in a relationship, okay? Both partners have to earn it. And if you can tell that the guy trusts you, it's okay to open up and reciprocate. Just like you want assurance that you can rely on a guy and he wants you to sort of check in. But if he's obsessively calling you every 30 minutes on a night out with the girls, or he always wants to know where you are, or he doesn't want you to spend any nights at your family house or go and see your mum, he always just wants to see you every single night, or he makes little comments about your clothes, or what money you've spent on buying something for your brother or your sister, he may start this sort of campaign to start isolating you from people. Now, if you're starting to feel that you're distancing from your tribe because it's uncomfortable for your partner, please be aware that this is the first thing that abusers usually do, okay? They get you more reliant on them, and then you start to miss out on the small bad behaviors that they're doing. And it's only until much later on, when you don't have your friends and family around you to warn you of his behavior, that you start to clue on that, oh, how did I get into this situation? Okay, so pay attention to that type of thing. And finally, number 12, trustworthy people are consistent. So they show up when they say they're going to show up. They do what they say they're going to do, right, to you, not just to others, but to you. They don't break promises all the time. And what's more, what they say actually matches what you hear from others, okay? This breeds safety and trust in someone. So those are the 12 points. Now, I often get asked, what if I keep meeting untrustworthy people? When we're in a situation when we are so desperate, we need or want, to change something about ourselves, and we often disregard the outward and the inward signs that indicate that a person should be trusted. Instead, we go with what we think sounds good or sounds wonderful or impressive, and what we think will get us out of our current pain, current situation as quickly as possible. This is the kind of thing that happens when someone's in a bad marriage and they meet someone who's not actually quite right, but they feel like they've been sent a solution, and they leave their partner or they have an affair, and they end up just in another bad relationship. This happens so often. So untrustworthy people that have an agenda, okay, they often know exactly what they need to say to us to get us hooked onto them. Like, they'll sense clearly, and they'll scan for our gaps, right? Things that we're lacking in confidence, self-esteem, what we long to believe about ourselves and in our lives, and what they think we want to hear. And being around them can falsely feel good, okay, because your ego is getting pumped up. Now, when you work with me, you know that I don't use labels a lot, things like narcissism. But narcissists, those who are really truly narcissistic, again, women often say, my ex was a narcissist. Men often say, the woman was crazy. And many of this is not true many of the times, because we're already talking about what can contribute to crazy behavior. But narcissistic, or people who really are selfish in a way, it's because men just want to do what they want to do, that's all. And there are obviously real emotional manipulators, okay, and we won't go into it too deeply, but those people are often the people that we trust when we shouldn't, okay. Why? Because they appear confident, they're charming, they're charismatic, they're highly successful, and you're so impressionable when you're around this person, you don't actually even see the clues, and eventually you start feeling that I'm not safe, and I don't really feel that I should trust this person. They don't really what they appear to be. But sadly, untrustworthy people will often hit you right in your Achilles heel, right? So they praise you, they puff you up, you feel terrific around them, but this kind of flattery and praise is fake, yeah, it's short-lived, and while it might feel right and really fantastic at the time, it's simply a tactic just to get us to like them. Okay, it's not real, it's not authentic. And what they can do is they can turn on you like in an instant. And with all that kind of game playing, they can have some disastrous results. And what can happen is you stop trusting yourself. So when you skip the due diligence, okay, that you need to do, this is actually not a good move, right? So if you're about to engage in something important with an individual, like in a new relationship, and you don't conduct the necessary evaluation of the person, and just go ahead and just plunk your trust right deeply in there, okay, you're going to lose your trust in yourself. Now, hear that again. You're going to lose trust in yourself. If you look in hindsight, and they say hindsight is 20/20, but actually there were always clues. There are specific ways in which to get, over trust issues. The first part is to actually evaluate what clues did you disregard. Okay, to actually work on like really specific trust issues or any past traumas that might be holding you back, just get in touch and I can help you with that. Okay? All right. Thanks for listening. Let me know if this was useful, and please share if you feel this could be beneficial for someone else.